Welcome back to On the Record. I'm Cody Thomas. This week, 3 courtrooms, 3 defendants, and 3 very different stories, all orbiting the same question. Who's telling the truth? And who's hiding it? We begin in Virginia, where the defense didn't just respond, they took control. In the murder trial of Brendan Banfield, the defense stepped into the driver's seat this week, and they didn't let up. Banfield is accused of orchestrating the murders of his wife, Christine, and Joseph Ryan, a man prosecutors say was lured to the home through a secret sexual fantasy scheme connected to the family's au pair. The defense says that story doesn't hold up. They went straight after the state's digital evidence, questioning who controlled the devices, who sent the messages, and whether investigators locked in too early. And then they dropped a bombshell. 71 jailhouse letters written by the au pair, Juliana Magalese, from behind bars, where she walks back key accusations and suggests Banfield was not the mastermind prosecutors describe.
I can bear living this without you. It's too much pain that I don't want to live like this. I can't. I just don't want to feel this way anymore. It's a torture. I love you more than anything. Well, they arrested me for the obvious reason, right? But they want me to cooperate against you because according to them, I know more than it's being said. I would do anything for you. If they want me to turn against you, if they think or whatever they believe, and if they want to blame me for that, that's okay. I can take the blame. I'll never do anything to hurt you or against you. Nobody is more afraid and sad, upset than me. I'm the one facing life in prison. Even though we are confident and positive that we have a strong case, we don't know what's going to happen. I can forever. Will be up to 12 people to decide. I really just hope I have the chance to be with them again, back home. I really do. I can't stand the thought of not being with them anymore for my own mistake. I would never forgive myself if I couldn't see them after all this. Sometimes I just think to myself, like, I can't believe I'm facing life in prison for someone. Then things weren't supposed to be this way, right? But people are stupid, including me, and make mistakes, act without thinking. That's all I did. I wanted to make sure you get this letter through Ryan. I would feel if we were able to get a guilty plea for me, that would be pleaded guilty for voluntary manslaughter plus time served, plus not testify against you, plus deportation. Well, that actually sounds good if he gets it for my case instead of facing a murder charge, plus sentence. Since the beginning, what they tried to get from me was for me to testify against you. So maybe they would give us that under the condition if I turn against you. A lot of people end up turning against the other person. They either broke down after a few months in jail or they got a good deal.
Jurors also saw body cam footage for the first time.
Knife's there, guns are on the bed. I got you.
We're gonna take him and stick him in a freezer.
Yeah, I gotta hook him up, guys.
He's having a breakdown.
Video tracking Banfield's movements with police in the hours after the killings.
Hi, sir. My name is Gina. I'm one of the doctors here. Your wife has died.
Prosecutors say it shows consciousness of guilt, focusing on blood on his hands and questions he asked about the second victim. The defense calls it something else entirely: raw, unfiltered grief. One of the most emotional moments came when Christine Banfield's father took the stand, testifying about his daughter's rare blood disorder, a condition that made her prone to bruising and bleeding. Testimony of the state says undercuts the defense claim that Christine would have consented to violent sex play.
Remembering Christine's childhood, did you observe any medical symptoms that gave you concern?
Yes, several bruising, bloody noses,
Were they more than the average child's experience?
Yes, yeah, it was a concern to a pediatrician as well.
Judge, I'm sorry, I'm going to object about medical testimony.
Objecting to medical testimony.
Your Honor, at this point in time, he hasn't testified to medical
Okay,
information.
I'll overrule the objection at this point. Yes.
Thank you. Tell me about the nosebleeds. What
They
did you
were,
observe?
they were frequent and very hard to stop. So the doctor was why we brought it to the doctor to go over that reasoning.
All right. Did you have to do anything to help her with these nosebleeds and bruising?
Well, yeah, we would do normal, put ice packs on the back of her head, keep her elevated so that, until it stopped, which was prolonged. Took quite a long time for them to stop.
And after these experiences, did you seek help of a medical professional?
Yes, we took her back to the pediatrician.
And then, the moment everything shifted, Brendan Banfield took the stand. He told jurors he loved his wife, denied ever wanting a divorce, denied any plan to kill her. He called the au pair's version a lie. But Juliana Magalese tells a very different story, one of months of planning, control, and a deadly endgame.
I heard the sounds of, I would say, moaning, as well as sound of skin-on-skin contact.
And what did you think was going on at that point?
Sex. Pushing the door open with my right foot revealed Christine, and who I now know is Joseph Ryan. They were on the floor near the bottom left of my bed.
You saw a knife there. What were you thinking in terms of Joe Ryan with a knife to Christine's neck?
I was extremely terrified. He told me that she was hers, that she was hers, and that she gave herself to me. And Christine kind of yelled, moaned. It appeared that he did a very forceful stab towards Christine, and Christine kind of spun away from him. So this kind of had Joe now like on his knees, kind of facing Christine, of which I saw him do a downward stabbing stroke, and that's when I fired at him. Christine told me that she was bleeding out, and that she was sorry and that she loved me.
You've had multiple affairs, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and one of those affairs was with a woman named Danielle, who you met on a fetish site searching for sugar babies. Is that correct?
I would not call it a fetish site.
You see Joe Ryan behind your naked wife with something metal in his hand. Is that accurate?
Yes.
You did not yell for Juliana, who's behind you, to call 911.
I didn't know that Juliana was behind me or had climbed the stairs at that point. I had only seen her on the main floor leaving.
Okay, but you told us that the foyer is this big echoey chamber that you can hear from anywhere in the house. If she's in the foyer and you're standing at the door, whether or not she's immediately behind you, if you yelled, call 911, she would hear you, wouldn't she, in this echoey foyer?
Yes, she would hear that.
Okay, and when first responders arrived, you agree you're on video holding her neck with your bare hand, correct?
I think so.
So where had the towel, the blanket, the sheet gone at that point after you were instructed by 911?
I think the towel was right next to me, but
It was under your knees, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Okay,
I thought it was right next to me.
thank you. Nothing further, Judge.
And while that jury in Virginia weighs sex, secrets, and credibility, another family drama is unfolding in New Jersey, in a courtroom where money, control, and blood are at the center of the story. In the trial of Paul Caneiro, prosecutors narrowed their focus this week and turned up the pressure. Jurors heard about failing businesses, disputed funds, and Caneiro's role as trustee over his brother Keith's life insurance, including testimony that Caneiro kept taking money even after being told to stop. The state is stitching motive to movement, surveillance timelines, vehicle activity, forensics, and DNA from Caneiro's niece found on clothing in his basement. The message from prosecutors: this wasn't just greed, it was desperation and control slipping away.
Once Keith was out of the way, executed on the spot, no longer able to protect his family, the defendant then went inside his brother's house, a home he'd been in countless times before, a home, you'll learn, he knew like the back of his hand, a home where Keith's wife and children were. And in there, in the chaos and confusion of having been awoken from sleep, in the shock and terror of having their home invaded, and in the dark, the defendant hunted them down. He stabbed his sister-in-law Jennifer multiple times in her back, her chest, and her abdomen, and he shot her in the head. He stabbed his nephew Jesse multiple times in his upper body and threw his arm into his chest. And he stabbed his niece Sophia 17 times over her entire 45-pound body, including deep stab wounds in her face and the top of her head.
The defense pushed back, calling it tunnel vision, questioning the science, and argued police locked in too fast.
They took and they tested Paul's DNA the same way they did Keith, Jennifer, Sophia, and Jesse's. But they never even bothered to get Corey Caneiro's DNA. And you know why that matters, ladies and gentlemen? When you have the opportunity to hear from the testimony of the DNA experts in this case, you will understand why that matters so much in this case. Because in this case, we're dealing with family members who you can imagine have very similar DNA profiles.
As jurors weigh two very different narratives, they're left with one central question. Was this a cold, calculated family slaughter or a case built on assumptions? And while New Jersey jurors sort through financial motives and forensic clues, a jury in Utah reached a verdict in the family murder plot trial. Coming up next. In the trial of Kevin Ellis, prosecutors said this was a family conspiracy that ended in gunfire. The state alleged Matthew Rastelli was lured to Utah, tracked across state lines, invited inside a home, and shot within moments of walking through the door. Jurors have heard about texts, location data, a delayed 911 call, and a knife found in the victim's hand that investigators say was planted. Prosecutors called it a calculated killing from inside the family.
This case is actually very simple, and it really comes down to three facts. Kevin Ellis is in the living room with a pistol. There's no need to complicate it. At every single level, what happened was murder and not self-defense. Matt Rastelli was excited to see his wife and kids again. He was coming from California, driving 10 hours to come and pick them up. He was not angry. He was not agitated. And he had absolutely no idea that when he walked in that front door, that the defendant was there lying in wait, ready to shoot him 7 times.
The defense said Ellis was manipulated, that he believed he was protecting his family and acted in a moment he thought was justified. The defense called just one witness, a retired police officer, before resting its case and sending it to the jury. The deliberations didn't last long. Before the night was over, the jury had reached a verdict.
Mr. Williams, would you and your client please stand and repeat the verdict?
State of Utah versus Kevin Stanley Ellis, case number 241100884. As to count one, we, the jury, impaneled in the above entitled cause, find the defendant as to count one, murder, as charged in the information, guilty. We, the jury, impaneled in the above entitled case, having found the defendant guilty of murder as charged in count one, further unanimously find that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt that imperfect self-defense does not apply. As to count two, we, the jury, impaneled in the above entitled cause, find the defendant as to count two, conspiracy to commit murder as charged in the information, not guilty. As to count three, we, the jury, impaneled in the above entitled cause, find the defendant as to count three, obstruction of justice as charged in the information, guilty. We, the jury, impaneled in the above entitled cause, find the defendant as to count four, commission of domestic violence in the presence of a child as charged in the information, guilty. As to count five, we, the jury, impaneled in the above entitled cause, find the defendant as to count five, commission of domestic violence in the presence of a child as charged in the information, guilty. As to count 1, 2, 4, or 5, we, the jury, impaneled in the above entitled cause, find that at the time of the offenses in count 1, 2, 4, or 5, that Kevin Stanley Ellis and Matthew Restelli were cohabitants. As to count 6, we, the jury, impaneled in the above entitled cause, find the defendant as to count 6, possession of a firearm by a Category 2 restricted person as charged in the information, guilty. As to count 7, we, the jury, impaneled in the above entitled cause, find the defendant as to count 7, possession of a controlled substance, cocaine, as charged in the information, guilty.
Thank you. Please be seated, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, Mr. Ellis.
In the end, jurors convicted Kevin Ellis of Matthew Restelli's murder, but acquitted him on the charge of criminal conspiracy. Now, Ellis faces life in prison when he returns to court for sentencing. Across all three cases, the same question still hangs in the air. Was this self-defense or a conspiracy that turned deadly? We'll continue tracking every witness, every turn, and every verdict. I'm Cody Thomas. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay informed, and join me next time we go back on the record.